Okay, then I got another one. Okay. Aneth, I hope I'm pronouncing this name right. Aneth Svartalf. If I, please forgive me if I butchered that name. I'm just gonna have the name on the bottom of the screen. But it's Aneth Svartalf, I believe it's pronounced. Okay, she asked which YouTuber is my favorite. I already answered that. Do I think anarchy is a possible workable solution? Yes and no. I've mentioned this before in other videos, and I'll put up a link where I describe my views on anarchy. And I actually wanted to put up a video later on that I wanted some of the more intelligent anarchists like K. Biomech and what you call it? Why did I forget his name? Professor Socialist to answer. But generally, here's the thing. To sum it all up, I'm with the idea of anarchy. I love the idea of anarchy. I just don't think people are ready for it yet. And the reason why I don't think people are ready for it yet sums up to one belief that I've held on to for years, ever since it just suddenly came to me years ago. People aren't ready for freedom. People really don't want freedom. They don't. I don't care how much in this country you hear the average wave-flagging moron talk about how land of the free, home of the brave, talking about how he adores freedom or loves freedom. One day just catch him off guard and ask him, so what do you want to do today? I don't know, what do you want to do? No one really likes freedom. When you put them in the situation where they have to make up their own choices about what to do in their lives, where to go, what's actually right and wrong, or let's make it even simpler than that. If they have to do something for their own damn selves without depending on another group of people to do it for them, they usually tend to back off. If you have to ask them what do you possibly think is the right thing to do in this situation, if they don't already have some book or some authority or some guideline already, paving the way for them to make that choice or decision, they usually don't know what to do and are afraid to make the wrong decision. And again, I say let's make it a lot simpler. There's potholes on the street right now. What do people usually say? Why doesn't the government come and fix these streets? How many people would think, why can't we just fix this shit ourselves? People don't like freedom. For that reason alone, anarchy's got a long way to go before it becomes a viable system. My other concern is with size. When you're dealing with smaller, and this is where I sort of agree with Jefferson here, when you're dealing with smaller groups of people, when you're dealing with nations that are what I would say is somewhat more manageable, and you're not necessarily dealing with city-like civilizations, anarchy can work very well. Once you start getting a bit more complex and larger, here's where you're going to start having problems, because this is where bureaucracy steps in. And once you have a bureaucracy, you might as well kiss anarchy goodbye. The problem really starts with cities. And if somebody can prove me wrong on this or clear me up on this, I would really appreciate it. But from what I'm seeing here, once you have cities, with cities and you got the buildings and all that, you don't really have farmland in cities. Cities generally are not viable on their own. They have to import everything. So if you're going to import everything and you got all your farmlands and your resources and your water and all that type of stuff outside of your city-state, outside of your city-type area, and you're bringing this stuff in, somebody's got to manage the trade. Somebody's got to manage how the food gets distributed, or the resources, and how to pay for that, and how to keep all those systems going. That automatically means bureaucracy. And once you have a bureaucracy, that's where the trouble starts. It's probably a simple question that anarchists have probably heard a million times before and already have an answer for. But so far from what I've read, I haven't really seen a solution to this. If somebody does have a solution, or if they've heard this, to say that, no, Sword Sage, man, you're behind the times. The solution is this. I'd appreciate it. Next one. What do I think is the biggest obstacle to getting out of the current system of states controlling people on such an overwhelming, massive scale? Good question. It's one that actually deserves several videos, I think, or at least one long one, which I don't have the time for. I've already burned up so many minutes with these. But the number one thing is people are going to have to... The number one thing that will get people to break out of that obstacle is when they realize that they don't need it. That's the biggest obstacle. You can come up with solutions here, solutions there. You can give them the tools they need. You can... give them textbooks, have seminars, lectures, teach the kids, all this stuff. But if the people themselves still have this feeling that there must be some type of ultimate authority guiding them in some way or telling them what to do, as long as you still have that element, you're going nowhere. You have to get people to realize that they can do shit on their own, or if they need help, that they can do it on a on a volunteer basis, on a contract basis, on a neighborly basis. It shouldn't have to be something that's thrust upon them or something that has to be suffered. If I need help, I should be able to go to somebody and just ask for it, and that person who gives me the help should not be able to lord it over me or somehow use that as a position of authority over me. So if people need help to... And I personally believe, by the way, and this is also one of the things that makes anarchy kind of weird to me, I personally believe that human beings are ultimately social creatures, and we do want to cling to each other, and we do want to work with each other, live with each other, and all that. That's why we have things like lovers and wives in the first place. We like, and building families, we like being together with a group of people, having friends and all that. So obviously we're going to depend on each other for certain things. I believe that you can get together and do things without there necessarily being a small group of those people, or one of those people having to be on top telling everyone what to do all the time and everyone has to bow down to them. When people realize that they can come together without that, then you'll be able to get somewhere. That's the obstacle you need to break. The need for authority. So, yeah.